First and foremost, a heartfelt appreciation to Mr. Ushira Ashmitha, a true pioneer and passionate sound engineer, the mastermind behind PC Games LK. Not only is he a business owner and technical wizard, but also the first person to crack and live stream the PC port of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 in the entire Southeast region, making gaming history with his expertise and dedication. Thanks to his efforts, many of us got our first real taste of the game's potential on PC. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2022 has some good moments, some beautiful cinematics, and some typically Moorish multiplayer, but it's a cowardly retconning of the original story. If you like brash, explosive, Brosnan-era Bond action with outrageous blockbuster set pieces and peak Michael Bay spectacle, then boy, do I have the game for you. It's available now on next-generation hardware. It's called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, and it came out in 2009. The original Modern Warfare 2 was huge, a cultural event after the breakout debut of the first Modern Warfare subtitle, but also a remarkable reflection of that culture itself at the time. It was a bleak reflection of the West's shared headspace in the late noughties, playing up on jingoism and melodrama, and a general post-9/11 mid-forever war Pearl Harbor-esque fear of American vulnerability to surprise attack. There was an argument, too, not that many tend to agree with it, that a close reading might find something almost nearly verging on an anti-imperialist message. What with its tale of ultra-nationalists inciting invasions and warmongering commanders-in-chief using their window to take the world for a ride. That might be a little generous, but at least there was something there, some scraps of direction, theme, or tone to cling to. Even if they led to an impossible tension with a game that still used contemporary wars as a playground, at least there was a tension to wrestle with, a bit of substance to bite into. There were glimpses of this in the first of these new Modern Warfare retcons in 2019, which seemed to be grasping for something adjacent to war is bad, if not always reaching it successfully. Above all, both had undeniable spectacle, which has always been this series' safety net to fall back on when its often haphazard storytelling has failed. There are plenty of stories, across more mediums than games, about nothing more than big explosions, cool guns, and good guys getting it done. Keep them abstract and keep them relentlessly entertaining, and their breed of anti-escapism is more than welcome. In 2022's Modern Warfare 2, though, things are neither abstracted far enough from their real-world context, nor entertaining enough to help you forget it. There are some very good individual missions, and the multiplayer, always a game in its own right, is having a good year. Still very much a brain-off shooter, but a compelling one all the same. But the narrative is gibberish. The tone's gone haywire, back to the series' cynical worst, and the fail-safe bombast isn't there to rescue it. Call of Duty wants to marry Sicario. I'm not sure it gets what Sicario is about. Still, the good stuff, and there is good stuff. Modern Warfare 2 cutscenes are extraordinarily good-looking. Arguably the most technically impressive of any game I've played, and full of some genuine moments of character. Disparate protagonists from different Call of Duties are brought together here, along with a couple of fun newcomers, into a kind of mercenary Avengers, and there's been some attempt to distinguish one gruff tactical man from another. The wicked Valeria Garza, Maria Elisa Camargo, has some nice chemistry with fellow newcomer and world's graveliest voice owner Alejandro Vargas, Alain Mesa, Radio banter between old faves Soap, Price, and Ghost borders on the flirtatious. Delivery is surprisingly good, and dare I say it, there are a couple of genuinely funny lines. Get us a tea is inspired. Shame it was followed up by fucking Brits from a character who is Scottish. Amongst the chatter, there are some genuinely brilliant missions. Wet Work, which has you lobbing knives at guards from beneath the water of Amsterdam's docks, is brief but brilliant, built on the darkly therapeutic thrills of dressing up all in black and slowly screwing silencers onto guns. Dark Water, continuing the aquatic theme, is a high point. Seeing you sneak onto an oil rig being used as a missile base and then work your way across a second ship through a battering storm, dodging crashing waves and storage containers that slide from side to side on the deck, acting as cover, but also threatening to squash you and your enemies as you inch forwards towards the bridge. It's proper second act climax stuff. It's also clearly modeled on the original MW2's oil rig mission of its own, albeit minus the comedy Bond-inspired title, The Only Easy Day Was Yesterday. And there are other highs. One late-game mission has you rescue a prisoner, where you break in by taking over the CCTV system and remotely instructing Ghost, one of the game's several returning heroes, to move from one bit of cover to the next, planting C4 on parked vehicles for some lovely late mission payoff as you shoot your way out. There's clear inspiration here, most obviously from Metal Gear Solid. What with its high camera angle and dashes from cover to cover, but also in games like Cyberpunk 2077, where you point one camera at another to magic your way into a new point of view. Then there's the very obvious influence of Naughty Dog, with Uncharted clearly inspiring a ludicrously long-winded car chase in missions like Violence and Timing, while The Last of Us scavenge, craft, hide cycle is the crux of Alone and Countdown. Unlike some of the other stealthier missions, though, these are at best a novelty and at worst an absolute dirge. Violence and Timing has you work your way up an interminable convoy, dodging mines, traffic, and enemy fire while hopping from vehicle to vehicle. But it feels oddly flat, in part because of how many times you have to go through the cycle of shoot enemies, drive up, hop to new car, repeat. But also because it all feels oddly slow. Compare it with another classic MW2 mission, Cliffhanger, which saw you escape a mountain base by flying through blurry trees on what felt like some kind of hypersonic snowmobile. For a mission that opens with you shooting bad guys out of pickup trucks while dangling upside down from a helicopter, this one feels oddly one note. I do not understand how this mission started so well, but felt like such a chore by the end. Remember, by contrast, how ridiculous those past missions were. So enormous and fluid and brash. These were caricatures of action movie set pieces, dialed up another notch on the base scale, a diamond concentration of a whole era's absurdity. The new Modern Warfare 2's inventions instead feel like another concentration. A concentration of the up itself, unsure of itself axis that so many AAA blockbusters seem to find themselves caught on today. In both Alone and Countdown, for instance, Modern Warfare 2 wants to be a prestige stealth game, and there are some nice touches here. Alone, in particular, stripping you back to nothing and spinning you out with horror-inspired jump scares like barking dogs and mannequin silhouettes in the torchlight. But then it progresses to a scavenger hunt for fan blades and bits of rope to fashion into wedges for opening doors, smoke bombs for stunning guards, and the small arsenal of other bits and bobs that would be genius if they existed within a game that was actually built for them, with systemic stealth and wider paths. Instead, you get these hybrid things that make the whole game seem insecure. A mostly narrow Call of Duty map with heavily armored enemies who will murder you with robotic immediacy while you fumble around looking for candle wax and ask yourself why, midway through your Friday night post-work session with the latest Call of Duty video game, you can't just shoot a damn gun. Too often, this game's stealth defaults to a Hitman knockoff without the utterly essential ingredient of its comedy value, the bits you actually remember, the playing dress-up, the conking people over the head with a suitcase, and the mustache-twizzling joys of poisoning the punch. The point is, Call of Duty is at its best when it's taking decidedly Call of Duty mechanics, shooting guns, throwing knives, and using them in neat ways. It's at its worst when it borrows new mechanics from elsewhere without adapting to their new shape. Still, again, there are positives. There is still some good Call of Duty here. Nowhere more so than in the multiplayer, which, despite some fuss from the hardcore, feels like one of the better efforts of recent years. Their issue is with a tweak to the minimap, which means you now only show up when someone uses a UAV, rather than when you shoot. The downside is it makes silencers, which used to stop you showing up on that map when you fired your gun, feel a bit redundant, and old stealth-focused perks have likewise been removed. The upside is it's technically more realistic, forcing you to listen for gunshots and look at the world around you, rather than the magic sonar in the corner of your screen. I sympathize with the hardcore, though. Silencers are fun, and there were other ways to nerf them if the sense was that they'd become overpowered. Other complaints include a somewhat Byzantine UI, tweaked since the beta, but still dense and knotted. Although I take a weird satisfaction from grinding through the weapons to unlock some fabled thing like an MP5.
அந்த பட்டனை கிளிக் பண்ணிருங்க.